Hopefully we're recording by now. Lord knows. Back of the house. Maybe good, maybe bad. On the topic of different types of trucking, on the topic of hazmat particularly, what's my thoughts? I'll explain. Freedom, feel, like, subscribe. Let's get into it, and always turn up the video speed. Why? Because you watch videos faster. Why wouldn't you? By the way, always sub-horn. Let's get into this. Hazmat is an interesting bird because there is huge money you can make if you do it right as far as companies go. But what about the rest of the situations? Like you have a hazmat, but you work at a regular freight style company. I've never found having a hazmat was actually beneficial to my driving career. And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? Like basically, if you're going to specialize to become hazmat, maybe get into some tankers as young as possible. Like maybe you're moving dairy or, you're something like that, because that's tankers probably the most likely way to do it. And get your experience moving tankers. So you got a couple of years before you turn 21 or 22 or whenever the companies will take it. 21 is when you can go OTR. You can go OTR. Like a state like Texas, you can be in-state at 18. But the rest of the big nation, for whatever reason, you can't cross the state line with a truck until you're 21. Don't ask me why that is. And maybe they've repealed that law. I've been out of the game for 3 years. But when it comes to tankers, tankers is what people really think about when they think hazmat: gasoline, fuel, special chemicals for, agriculture, or, for instance, perhaps you're delivering stuff to refineries. Okay. And that's where the big money would be. So you'd want to get that experience with a tanker first so you can get into that. But what about the rest of the time dealing with hazmat? Well, let's go over the reasons when I had a hazmat that I was happy to let it go. Basically, I think you have to re-up it every 2 years or so versus the normal interval of, having it for your CDL. Like, and I think this state, you can get a CDL that lasts for, I heard it's something like 4 or 8 years, which is great. Really is. It's great. You have to deal with the DMV as often. But if I had to go in and deal with the hazmat every 2 years, you better be paying me for that. And here's the thing. When I was at way back in the before times, way back when I got my Class A, I basically I was looking at it and they're like, well, if you get your hazmat, there's times that'll get you loads and other people can't get loads. That's true. But let me tell you the downside to that. It'll get you loads to move hazmat, and not even like really super valuable loads. Like when I first started out, I was making fucking jack shit squat working at Swift, because I got my license and they were the only company that would take me right out of the gate. So I'm like, whatever. And so you get this load delivering. It's not even a huge amount of hazmat. It could be like some batteries or bullets or something like that. But it'll pay you an extra 2 cents per mile. Now, let's go over why I don't like moving hazmat. It's not the materials, because a lot of times the people who pack these things know what they're doing. In fact, they're paid to know what they're doing. In fact, I like the paperwork for hazmat way better because it's always the same. It's right there in the door. It's easy to understand. There's no vagueness like a lot of paperwork in trucking. So the thing about it is that if you get a ticket with hazmat, you get double the CSA points against you. That's a problem. And so effectively, what you see in that situation is you're better off not moving hazmat at all. Not even dealing with it. Here's the other part. Every scale that's open, you're required to stop in there. I don't know if it's the same way as it used to be, but you're required to pull over there. Every railroad, because you have hazmat, you're required to stop and do the 4-way blinky thing. Put your 4-ways on, look both ways for trains. And so you just there's a lot of ways that hazmat can screw you over. Like little things that you wouldn't normally think about. So if you're going to do it, you got to be working for a serious company where that's their game and they're doing real big money operations. But I'll tell you the truth about this. If anything, I should have learned tanker for other reasons. I have a tanker endorsement. I've used it a few times, but with like bulk liquids, like peanut oil or something. Like I used to get those loads. They're like, "Oh, you have a tanker? Oh, okay, well, we got this peanut oil deal, and that'll get us up out of here, and then it'll get us to a better load." A young man's game, in my opinion. I should do its own separate recording about flatbed. I'd say learn flatbed. If you're early in the game, basically start out, maybe move dairy if you're local, if you want to stay local, as young as possible to get that experience. And then basically, you want to go OTR, maybe learn flatbed because you're young, you're in shape. Flatbed's real work. Just like animal livestock hauling, it can be real work. Hazmat, if it's for a certified company, it's big money. But I drove reefer. Anything that can be put in a dry van can be put in a reefer, and even some tanker loads, because they're giant bulk tanks, can be put into the back of your truck. So I made, when I left, after taxes, after everything, about $80K a year. I could have been making $100K if I would have just job hopped back then instead of remodeling my house and taking the time off. So the point of it is, if I can make 90 to 100K working for a refrigerated company, which moves food and dry goods, what's the motivation to take that huge risk? Like, unless you're making a huge amount of money at a tanker company, and I think where the real money is for hazmat tanker is the companies that are where you own your own truck, and you're taking home more of the pie. That's where the real money is in that. Now, what about if you wanted to drive local? Oh, sure, I could see that. Propane truck, fuel oil truck. Maybe you work in the farmlands, and you're moving agrochemicals. Oh, I could totally see that. That's a great idea. You get a Class A. You could be driving a Class B truck locally. In fact, one of the guys that's a bartender over there, he does that. That's his main job, and he bartends occasionally just because he likes bartending. But as far as doing it over the road, I would never bother. I would never bother unless you were going to pay me real money. And every company I worked with when I had a hazmat, it was like, they were like, "Oh, well, we'll pay you 2 cents more per mile. And if you don't take this load, you'll be stuck at this terminal forever." Because all these other jokers, and they say, "We don't got any loads." Really? Really? I just saw like how many trucks go out of here. We don't got no loads. No, you just want me to move this load, and you're not even going to pay me really well for it. And the risk to your CSA store? No. That's why America needs lots of food and products. And that's why I like reefer, because the same things you can put into a refrigerated truck are the same things you could put into a dry van. Well, I mean, you know what I mean. A dry van can go into a refrigerated truck. So I just don't see any reason to waste my time and energy. Anyhow, let me go through here and see what all these people are saying and see who's going to be eliminated immediately. Oh, look, you're gone. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't care. It's the same stupid jokes over and over again, racist crap. Get the fuck out of here with that. Okay, that's just stupid. Why are you here? I'm not even nice these days. I made it to 1,000 subscribers. That's about whatever. And the rest of you are non-offensive. Anyhow, that's a recording. Peace.